negotiate. Joining us now, Executive Director of the American Conservative magazine, Curt Mills, and European culture critic for Tablet magazine, Vladislav Davidson. I'll start with you, Curt. What was your assessment of the readout of this call after President Trump's tweet and us learning of this 2-hour duration?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like we're back on track. Frankly, the negotiations had taken a sort of bearish tilt. The Russians had moved into a sort of maximal demand posture, demanding all this territory that they actually haven't even conquered. Essentially, the sort of read between the lines there is that they probably want some sort of Ukrainian security guarantee that is a control on what the Zelensky administration can do after any kind of peace. Trump seemed to have reopened it today. I mean, as recently as an hour before the call, J.D. Vance, the vice president, said it seemed like Putin was driving a hard bargain. This might be over. This was a needed jolt to keep this negotiation going on.
I took particular note of the fact that this is going to be a bilateral discussion between Putin and Zelensky. You're not going to have Macron lingering. Trump won't be there to kind of play aggressive mediator. Vlad, how do you think Zelensky is going to perform mano a mano in this negotiation with Putin?
Hi, thanks for having me back, Matt. Well, look, the two Vladimirs have met before in Paris. So they do know each other, and they've looked each other in the eyes. And Zelensky's quite tough, and he turned out to be very canny. So I've no problem with that. I'm just very concerned that President Trump, and he's much more patient a man than I am, and he really wants a deal, and he's really put a lot of political capital into this, and he's very patient. Tremendous credit to him. I just really hope he's not getting jerked around by the Russians, who are very much engaging in stalling tactics and feeling out what they can get, seeing if they can get Donald Trump to do something else, get distracted, or just kick it over to the Europeans. I really hope that Donald Trump has more of his patience, and he's in it for the long durée.
So we've had people on the program before who've said, Putin does or doesn't want peace, Zelensky does or doesn't want peace. There's no dispute that Trump wants to end this war and wants peace, but he's not going to be at the table. Like, do you read anything, Curt Mills, from the fact that Trump won't be lording over this negotiation as mediator-in-chief?
Well, I mean, just to dovetail, I do think he is getting jerked around by the Russians, but I think the president can handle himself, and I think that's why we had, this sort of rapprochement with Putin today. I don't know. I mean, Trump seems very committed to trying unconventional approaches to this. The reality is that Zelensky and Putin are the problem. This is their war, and he seems very freshly motivated after his sort of lightning trip to the Middle East, which was a great success last week, to try something new. He seems very anchored, which I thought was interesting, on the new Pope. I think I would not be surprised. Trump sort of likes the Hollywood approach to this. I would not be surprised the first American Pope, Trump, would be in the picture. So, I mean, I think, he wants to see the two parties meet, but I wouldn't anchor too much on the specifics right now. It's other than the fact that Trump is invested and is very adamant that they still want a deal, which was not entirely clear until earlier today. And I think that's the top line.
Vlad, what do you make of the Vatican potentially being the meeting place of Zelensky and Putin, and maybe the role the Pope would have in bringing this to a head?
I'm happy whenever anyone wants to intervene and help the Ukrainians, my people, my relatives, my friends. I'm happy. This Pope, this new American Pope, seems to have gotten a lot of good marks from Ukrainians, and he seems to have off the bat said all the right things. Whereas, let's be frank, the previous Pope was not beloved by the Ukrainians. He was seen as someone with a kind of, frankly, leftist South American, third worldist bent, with a set of policies and impulses and values that, frankly, anyone who's not the West is good. Anyone who's not America is good. The last Pope had good intentions, but had said all the wrong things. This new Pope comes into power and immediately says all the right things and reassures the Ukrainians, from the government down to just people on social media. So I pleasantly surprised that our fellow American is good on Ukraine.
Yeah. Yeah, so obviously if this meeting of Putin and Zelensky converts into a ceasefire, that's a success. But Curt Mills, is there anything short of a ceasefire that Trump and those who are rooting for peace will be able to claim as a victory?
I don't know. I mean, I think the more optimistic goal is obviously an enduring peace, even an armistice, just freeze the battle lines and see where we're at in a few years, or if not forever. Of course, the Korea model is very interesting because that's an armistice that's lasted 70 plus years. So yeah, I think they need a ceasefire pretty much at minimum. But I think I think this is just really encouraging news. I mean, it seemed as if before today there was a possibility that Trump was going to be driving to a resolution in this war, but that he was going to be doing it later this year. It's made it very clear that negotiations are back on this summer.
That would be terrific. Vladislav Davidson, Curt Mills, thanks as always for joining the program and sharing your insights and perspective.
Thank you.